One of those witnesses that was in court today was Susan Lane Fournier's son. Joe Ranieri was in the courtroom as well and joins us with the very latest. Joe.
Well, Tim, it was just before Thanksgiving in 2024 when Susan Lane Fournier was reported missing. A week later, her body was found in the woods just 350 yards from her home in Welches. Her estranged husband, Michel Fournier, is on trial for her murder.
At 72 years old, Michel Fournier looked noticeably older in court on Tuesday from what he looked like when he was being interviewed by deputies shortly after his arrest in 2024.
At 12:09, it's seen at Rapid Firearms. At 12:10, it's seen at Sandy Family Restaurant.
In opening statements, the state showed evidence of him driving through Sandy on the day his estranged wife, Susan Phoenix Lane Fournier, went missing. And the defense, who only spoke briefly, wanted jurors to know there will be a lot of evidence to go through to prove Fournier's innocence.
We're asking you to keep an open mind. When you hear this evidence, it's important that you continue to pay attention no matter how long this case goes on, no matter how hard the evidence may be to see, and really hold the state to their burden.
Susan's son Jesse spoke about how grateful he was for Michel to come into his family's life after they lost their dad.
For me, we had lost our dad in a car accident, so I always considered it a blessing that someone was willing to, provide for our family.
Susan and Michel's 12-year marriage was quickly coming to an end. She had just served Michel with divorce papers. Less than 2 days later, she was reported missing on November 22nd, 2024.
Sergeant Mark Griffith that goes and confirms that yes, indeed, what Mr. Evans found was a body.
A week later, she was found dead with gunshot wounds in the woods just 350 yards from the house she shared with her estranged husband. One of her sons came across one of the shells that is believed to come from the .22 that killed her.
I thought that this is a good thing not to lose, and I picked it up and realized that it wasn't a good idea to pick that up, and so I put it back down.
We spoke to Susan's brother Michel outside the courtroom.
He took advantage of a widow. You saw that in the testimony. And that infuriates me.
He says once Michel knew he was going to be left with nothing,
his name was never on the lease. She bought it for the life insurance money from her husband.
Susan's brother believes that was the motive behind her murder.
So he had to kill her to mute the divorce so he could keep the property.
Susan had two beloved dogs that Michel is suspected of killing. He could also face animal abuse charges in Multnomah County. Now, Tim, the trial is expected to last at least the next 2 weeks.
All right, Joe. Thanks very much.